afternoon, Rotarians, friends, and guests. I am Becky Fields, and as president of this great club, the Rotary Club of Tulsa, I am so excited to welcome you to this wonderful Wednesday. So let's begin our program with invocation from Sarah Fry, song and pledge from Jerry Dillon, visitor introductions from Lane Dolly.
Please pray with me. Dear God, thank you for this fellowship as we gather as Rotarians in service to our community and to one another. Today, we ask for your grace. We ask that in a world today that moves so fast, where it sometimes seems that we move at lightning speed and work at lightning speed and watch all the bad news on TV at lightning speed and binge watch the latest season of whatever at lightning speed and talk at lightning speed, eat at lightning speed, book the summer vacation at lightning speed, worry about loved ones at lightning speed, plan the next year's operating budget at lightning speed. We ask that you remove the worry and remove the furious pace and give us the peace to slow down. Give us the peace to take one another in and actually listen, and give ourselves permission to even smell one specific delicate flower and then stop again and thank you for its creation. Bless this food that it may nourish our bodies, and bless the hands that made it. We offer you thanks and praise now and always, and all God's people said, amen.
Tom, I want to change the song because of the prayer. Let's sing to our God. God bless America. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the ocean, white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We're blessed with a number of guests today. I'm thrilled to introduce Mike Teague, who is a guest of Karen Keith, as well as Derek Osborne. Would you please stand, and I'll hold your applause until I've introduced everyone. Thank you. Ken Busby is a gift of Philip Viles. Thank you. Tate Cavett of Tina Miller and Jarl Johnson. Dr. Aaron Joshi is with David Wagner. Lynn Anderson is the guest of Cindy Salter, as well as Heather Buffington. Thank you. Pamela Lindley is with Tom Wolfe. Keith Elder has come with Lou Ann Bullinger. Dan Simone is with Duff Weddle. Ya Wong is with Matt Davis, as well as Sergio Campos. Thank you. Tim Redmond and Sandy Redmond are with Matt Redmond. Glad to have you. Charles Craig is with Carol Craig. Karma Grisby Smith is with Sarah Stokely. Jeff Lauer is with Paul Baumann. Thank you. June Moore is with Becky Fields. David Cobb is with Mike Homan. Crystal Ifahoya is with Rebecca Fields, as well as Tara Payne. Nice to have you. And the Hal Smith Company has a number of people here today. We're thrilled. I'll just read the names, and later you'll hear more about them. Hank Kraft, Scott Reed, Brent Baisden, Katie Beasley, Matt Hopkins, Jake Regier, and David Tresmer. Welcome, everyone. We're so glad you visited.
Thank you to all of our guests for coming today and all of our Rotarians for volunteering to help out today. Can anyone tell me what this is? Right, it's a well-known American staple, but did you know that back in 1868, this little bottle started being produced out of 3 ingredients: salt, vinegar, and Tabasco peppers. And for 125 years, it made a run in the kitchens all across the United States, around the world, and even in the kitchen of the Buckingham Palace. And for 125 years, this amazing little concoction did not have one change to it, not one time. So can you imagine the trepidation of the employee that walked in and said, "I think we should do a green Tabasco sauce"? I wonder what the people in the boardroom thought that day whenever they had that idea. And I wonder if they said things like, "Oh, what we have, this is perfect. Let's not change a thing. And what we have, this is what people are used to. Let's not touch this. We could ruin a good thing." We've made millions, if not billions of dollars already on this 125-year-old product. So I think you probably know where I'm going with this. We as Rotarians have been around for 110 years. And in my opening inaugural address this year, I just challenged you guys and said, you know, we are agents of change as Rotarians. We are doing big things in the world. Let's own up to what we're doing. Let's be agents of change. And so I wanted to thank a few people who have already taken me up on that. At this time, these are people who have come to me with new ideas, who have been innovators, who have been willing to step out and do things a little bit differently. They are Mike Rogers, Mike Homan, Kip Lycum, Paul Baumann, Brenda Melancon, Johan Tellman, and Tina Miller, who actually gave me the book, Creating Magic, which is a Disney book. It's a wonderful book on Lee Cockrell's leadership style and the Disney Institute. And they had this award called the Green Tabasco Award, which gave me the idea for us. And it just made me think of, you know, sometimes it's not about, and let me tell you, the people that I just named on this list, not one of them came to me and said, you know, the old sauce is not good. I think we should throw it out. I think we should change everything and just throw it out. Let's get rid of everything. No, they came to me and said, I love what we're doing, and here's another way we can elevate what we're doing. Here's another way we can spread the world and be different. And just like the Tabasco product, which has another 8 flavors, by the way, at this point, and still doing well, these people stepped forward, and I just wanted to let you know that you are the first recipients of the Green Tabasco Award. Exactly. And it's only fitting on restaurant day because, Hal, do you have these in any of your restaurants, do you think? Any Tabasco sauce as flavorings? You have a lot, okay. And you might ask, what do you get with this award? Nothing. You get the honor of saying you were the first Green Tabasco Award winner. But mainly, just from my heart, I just want to tell you thank you to each of you who have come to me with enthusiasm and with new ideas and innovators and agents of change. I appreciate your support and all that you're doing. So now for a few club announcements. We'd like to thank our meeting sponsors this week, of whom we could not do what we do. Our operations budget is really financed with our sponsorship dollars, so we really want to thank you. Small and Associates, Chris McCown, Vision Source, Terry Lawson, Claude Neon Federal, James Adair, and Monette and Associates, Ed Monette. Thank you guys so much. And exciting upcoming programs coming next week, August 7th, Congressman Kevin Hern. So some more restaurant talk, I think, we'll be excited to hear about. August 14th, Governor Kevin Stitt. So those will be exciting programs to make sure and invite your guests and invite them early and let them know what we have to share. It's going to be exciting. All right, and one last chance to volunteer this week with Beep Baseball Association. For those of you who might not have been here, or for our guests, we had a lot of guests today. I think I'll explain it to you. So BEEP is a World Series baseball league that has come to Tulsa. It actually operates around the world. They have teams around the world, and they have competitions around the world. And Tulsa is so lucky to get to sponsor the World Series this week. It's already been going on. In fact, I got to talk to David Wagner, our incoming president, about his chance to volunteer even this morning, and he even cleaned up and came back, got a suit on, and came to Rotary today. And so it's just a couple of hours out of your day to go volunteer, and would you agree, David, it was well worth your time? Yeah, I think so. He was beaming from ear to ear telling me about it. And basically, BEEP baseball is for the vision impaired and low vision and blind individuals so that they can play adaptive baseball. And it's a really neat thing. So I'd like to show you a little video just so you get an idea of what we can do. Maybe I'll tell you about it. Give it.
Travis, it's a very big day for many athletes who traveled out of state to be here for the championship in Tulsa. The first game starts in less than 3 hours. BEEP baseball is a sport that was adapted for the visually impaired, and it really took off in the 70s, and now the World Series is right here in Tulsa for the first time. More than 400 players competing from the U.S. and around the world. While Oklahoma doesn't have a BEEP baseball team, the Tulsa Sports Commission is proud to hold its first World Series.
Their entire families are here. They've been already to the gathering place, downtown, a couple of the museums, and so they're actually bringing a lot of economic impact into the city.
For these athletes, the sport isn't just a pastime.
You meet a lot of friends and a lot of people, and it's like your second home, your second family, so I love that about it.
And it looks like some of our Rotarians have already been out there volunteering this week, and so we thank you so much. In fact, if you've already volunteered this week, would you raise your hand, or if you're on deck to go? Great. Thank you guys so much. We really appreciate it. And just to squelch any of your fears, I'm volunteering on Friday, and I was a little nervous because I thought, I love sports, I love to watch sports, but the terms and, like, I didn't want to be a line judge. Is that even a thing in baseball? I'm sorry if I just ruined it for all you baseball. Phil Viles, you can tell me later. I know there's no halftime, but anyway, needless to say, there are opportunities if you are athletically challenged like myself, and so I'm volunteering at the hospitality tent on Friday, and so I'll be serving, snacks, which is right up my alley, so that's perfect. So there are still opportunities to volunteer. If you'll look in your Monday message this week in our weekly newsletter, there is a link, and it's super easy. You just sign up right online for about a 2 or 2.5 hour slot. So we hope you can get out there, and we look forward to hearing all the neat things that you get to experience because of this. I want to quickly throw in one side note. Matt Davis has brought 2 young professionals today from around the world. They're with Up With People. And Sergio and y'all, would you give a wave real quick? Thank you so much for being here. I got to visit with them shortly beforehand, but I'd love for you just to go seek them out at the back of the room afterwards. They're doing a really, really neat thing here in September, and there are ways to volunteer with them as well. We'll tell you more about that later, but I'd love, since they're here today, if you'd like to go back and meet them afterwards. I think you would really enjoy it. Really neat young guys. And at this time, I would love to welcome Tana Scott, our Sergeant of Arms.
Good afternoon, everybody. I think they're umpires.
Are they? Okay, thank you. Not line judges.
I don't know either. I just know that I don't know. I think there's a line judge somewhere. I just
Mike
don't
just
know.
tells me don't talk sports.
I
And
couldn't
try
say
not
Chopin,
to.
I don't know. Whatever. All right. How is everybody today? You're here. Thank you for coming out. Okay, so I want to start with our fundraiser that we're rolling out. So what this is this just a really nice way for us to get social media recognition, really. So you don't have to pay a fine to submit your photos. It's a fun way to show them up here. But you take your picture at the Be the One statue, sculpture, whatever you want to call it. You text or email your photo to me. We'll post it on Facebook and Instagram. And then whoever gets the most likes and shares is going to win. And we have a $50 gift card to Flying T for the winner. So, having said that, I received this picture from I love this, from the Leadership Tulsa class of 53. This is Luann Bullinger. Y'all, Luann, where are you? Is it good? Okay. We had a long talk about it at my table. There was lots of, whatever. Tiffany Egdorf, Jay Foley, and Daniel wasn't able to make it, but he was there in paper on Jay's. You can't see him, but that's Daniel on the top there. They also came to me today and said they are each donating $53 for a total of $212 for this photo. So thank you guys so much for that. That was a little bit premature, but it is now fine time, if you will. I'm going to start with Stephanie Cameron. Are you here today, Stephanie? Yay, thank you so much. It is her birthday on August 2nd, and she has donated $50. Thank you, Stephanie. And Graydon Yoey, Graydon, you're over here somewhere. Thank you so much. He has donated $100, and he is paying a fine for engagement and subsequent wedding of stepson Jacob Broom and his new bride, Grace. This was his proposal. What? Was that a drone? How did he even do that? That's incredible. And here are there's his bride, wedding picture, and engagement photo. He said you can use one or both, but I feel like this one is substantial dramatic effect. This one, it just looks like a hill. Thank you, Graydon. Thank you, and congratulations. All right, Mike Carter, are you here today? No, Mike? Oh. Okay, well, he donated $100 for his birthday, and I asked what he wanted to say, and he just said, I am just proud and honored to be a member of Rotary. So, Mike, you're the man. He's not here for me to tell him, but I'll certainly send him an email. Thank you, Mike, and happy birthday. It was back on, I said, well, when was your birthday? Because I couldn't find it on all my printouts, and he said June 16th. So, a little belated. I love this picture. If I could have got a dad bod tank for this meeting, I was going to dress up like Matt Bristow, but I couldn't. So this is Matt Bristow's donation for his $40 for his 40th year on this earth. This is his picture from his last year's birthday, August 3rd. And I emailed and I was like, oh my gosh, this tank top is everything. And I have to get my husband one. Where'd you get it? And he said, actually, my brother-in-law got this for me, and they had matching tank tops on this trip. So, Matt, are you here?
Well done.
There you are, front and center. Thank you so much. And happy birthday. Joe, are you here today again? Thank you so much for donating again. This is for his birthday on July 28th, and he sent me this GIF. And I clicked on it, and it was happy birthday to Joe Bonamassa. I was like, oh, what's this? Happy birthday, Joe. Thank you so much. And I will wish myself a happy birthday, if I don't mind. But it's really not about me. My birthday is, we started this whole adventure with me telling you how much I love National Days, right? It was National Pina Colada on my first meeting. And my husband emailed me and he said, what do you want for your birthday dinner? And I don't really care. And he said, do you know what National Day it is today? And I said, no, I don't know how I don't know that. It's National Chicken Wing Day on my And I must say, I don't know how you like your chicken wings. Hot and spicy, sticky and sweet, plain Jane, ranch, blue cheese. It is literally the most versatile protein on the planet. So that's what I had for my birthday dinner. And I look like that when I eat them. Thank you guys so much. If you want to donate, please email or call.
Thank you, Tana. And at this time, we would like the Rotaract President, Jessica Carney, with a side mic announcement.
Hi, beautiful people. Good afternoon. I just wanted to let everyone know our wine, cheese, and chocolate is coming up very soon, September 26th. We left some sponsorship papers on the table if you could give those a look. We had a few title sponsors not be able to do it this year, and so if you could just check what you have going on. Maybe you have not given everything that's allocated this year. We would appreciate anything that we can get, because we have a lot of very good people we give to, and we want to outdo what we did last year. So we also partnered with our district, since it is the 26th. On the 27th and the 28th is the district convention, and they partnered with us with wine, cheese, and chocolate. So we will be able to use part of our funds now to give back to youth services. So that's even a better deal now. So just have that in mind, and please come out and support us in any way you can. Thanks,
Wonderful.
Becky.
Thank you, Jessica. That is a fun event, and you'll need to make sure and get tickets to that as well. And one more side mic announcement with Daniel Gomez and Adopt a Class.
Hi everyone, this feels familiar, and I'm doing the only thing I've been trained to do up here, which is to ask for money. So I'm chairing the Celia Clinton committee this year, and I met with the principal actually just yesterday. She's new. Principal Davis has retired. Her name is Brandy Wall, and she's very excited for the partnership. And of course, every year we do the Adopt a Class campaign, which has been going on for many years. It was Terry Heritage ran this thing for so long, and it's been so successful. We're going to keep it up. For those of you that don't remember, we collect as much money as we can, and we end up buying gift cards for each teacher at the school before we try to get them to them before the school starts so they can decorate their classrooms. So I'm up here to encourage you guys to give some money for this campaign. You can also do it through the Sarge. I got plenty of those, and I think it's a fun way to just designate your money. My $53 is going there. And just want to encourage everybody to do that. I also wanted to use this opportunity real quick. We have a pretty good committee put together for Partners in Education. But again, with the new principal and some new things we're going to do, I just want to encourage everybody to sign up if you haven't signed up for a committee yet. I'm pretty excited for it. I think it's one of the most important things we do. And give money for the campaign. Thank you, guys.
At this time, I'm excited to introduce our Rotarian of the Day, Monica Martin. She is the Development Director for Tulsa's Day Center, where she dedicates her time to raising awareness and building donations to promote its mission to serve those who are experiencing or at risk for homelessness. Her professional career in the nonprofit sector began at Stand in the Gap, an organization devoted to helping men and women in crisis. She has also served as the fundraising coordinator for the Little Lighthouse. Monica and her husband, Chris, have been married for 27 years, and they have 2 children together, Connor and Lauren. Monica joined Rotary in 2016 and is currently serving as chair for the new event, Rhythm and Brews. Please help me welcome Monica Martin.
Thank you, Becky. Charleston's Red Rock Canyon Grill, Mahogany Prime Steakhouse, Louie's Bar and Grill, The Garage, Upper Crust, Pub W, Neighborhood Jam. Raise your hand if you've ever eaten at any of these restaurants. And raise your hand, members and guests, like if you have not received a ticket for the drawing, because at the end of Mr. Smith's talk, we're going to give out $500 worth of gift cards. So if you could please raise your hand, we want to make sure you get the ticket and get in the bucket. So Tina, do you want to? So I'll continue on while Tina is dealing with that. In 1973, Hal Smith joined Steak and Ale Restaurant Corporation as a manager, trainee, and ultimately a regional associate. In July 1980, he was promoted to president and CEO of Steak and Ale, a wholly owned subsidiary of Pillsbury. At that time, Steak and Ale consisted of more than 250 restaurants and sales of $400 million. During his tenure, the company grew to more than 400 restaurants with a $750 million in sales. Mr. Smith was then named chairman and CEO and became a vice president of Pillsbury. He was also appointed to serve on the board of directors of Burger King. In addition, he had the responsibility of overseeing the Haagen-Dazs ice cream stores and Poppin' Fresh Pie shops with total system-wide sales of over $1 billion. 2 years later, Mr. Smith was selected to become president COO of Chili's, a young, dynamic, fast-growing, and highly profitable restaurant chain known for its casual, fun atmosphere. In 1992, he founded Hal Smith Restaurants, headquartered in Norman. Since that time, his company developed all of the restaurants I mentioned earlier and more. In addition, he opened 19 Outback Steakhouses and 3 on-the-border Mexican cafes as a franchisee in the early 90s and subsequently sold the 22 units to parent companies for capital to help fund future growth for Hal Smith Restaurants. Mr. Smith was born in Ardmore and attended Oklahoma University and Central State University, majoring in management and marketing while working his way through school. Now, where do you think he worked? Restaurants, of course. Currently, he participates, and serves on several boards. In 2017, Mr. Smith was named to the Oklahoma Hall of Fame. He and his wife, Sandy, founded the Norman Youth Foundation in 1997 and to date has raised close to $1 million for various youth-oriented charities in Oklahoma, such as Center for Children and Families, Allie's House, Coaches for Cancer, just to name a few. He is a donor to the University of Oklahoma and Oklahoma State University Hotel and Restaurant School. Needless to say, this man has a deep sense of pride when it comes to Oklahoma and its people. As he has often said, it's been a good ride. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Mr. Hal Smith.
Thank you so much. First of all, want to thank the Rotarians for inviting me. I spoke to the group in Oklahoma City a couple of years ago, and I still keep contact with a lot of them that asked some great questions. I even hired a couple of people out of the crowd, so it turned out to be a good one. I was looking at the crowd earlier, and it reminded me a long time ago, about 15 years ago, I was invited to go to Paris, France to speak to chefs and owners. There were 300 people in attendance, and a lot different than this crowd because it was totally dark in the audience, and the brightest lights I've ever been under in my life were shining on me, and I'm on a stage like this. And I thought, I'm going to be real funny. I'm going to get up there and say something cute. So I got up there, and I said, I'm just an old Oklahoma boy, raised on a farm, but I do know a lot of French. Beaujolais, Chardonnay, Chevrolet, French toast, French fry. I kept going on and on. Not a word, not a peep. I'm going, man, I'm already sunk. I've sunk this boat already. I looked over, and the guy gets up, and he walks over, and he goes, wait just a minute. I waited, and then everybody started laughing. Well, then the lights go up, and they all have on their earphones for interpretation. So hopefully I don't have to have an interpreter with what I say today. Scared me to death. It really did. I want to recognize my team here. I've got about 8 or 10 people from our company, and they're the backbone of what we do. We have great consistency. I talked to Jerry a little while ago about consistency in our company, and I think one word is passion. We all love what we do. I'm 73 years old. I get up every morning and go to work, and I think about work all the time. I'm always either on a computer, on a phone, or talking to somebody at the office or in the field. And it's been a great ride. I've had a lot of things happen in my life. I've had the opportunities that most people never dream of. I'm going to touch on a few of them just to say, she's already mentioned how many restaurants we have. But I'll tell you, today we're going to probably end the year at about $270 million in sales, $26 million in profit. We have 7,000 employees in 7 states. And we right now have 14 concepts. Actually, I'm 16% owner of Ted's Escondido, so I count that in my side of the ledger. But overall, I'd put our consistency up against anybody, and I sure appreciate that Tulsa Market has been wonderful to us through the years. We have not had a loser. And I look at it and I go, how do we do that? Well, we did it because of people like this. And I asked Norm Brinker, who was the founder of Steak and Ale, I said, Norm, what's your key to success? And he said, number one, passion. Number two, he said, integrity. Number three, you hire the best thoroughbreds you can hire. You train, train, train. And then you put them on the racetrack, and don't get in front of them. Tap them on the rear end. And when they kind of go over to the side, tap them on the rear end. Let them go back. Let them run the race. Don't get in front of them. And I never forgot that. Whenever we hire thoroughbreds, we really train our people well. And that's been our kind of our mainstay through the years. And I look back and I go, of all the things that I learned, that was probably the key. I want to touch just quickly. I know we're short on time, but I started out at the University of Oklahoma, working my way through college at the Across the Street Restaurant, which was a hamburger and beer place. A lot of you shaking your head. You've been there, done that. We had a lot of fun in those days. Hank and I both worked at Across the Street long, long time ago. And when I say Hank, I want to stop and say my partner, my dearest friend, the guy I can count on and everybody else can count on in our company is the mainstay of what we do. And he's been a partner and a friend for a long, long time, but a partner for sure over 35 years. And you don't see many partnerships last that long, and every time we see each other, it's like my brother. Hank, would you stand up just quickly? He's awesome, I can tell you that. Anyway, I was working my way through school and then opened up Cross Timber Steakhouse with Hank. Hank was the kitchen manager, I was the manager. I hired a lot of Steak and Ale employees. I went up there and hired their cooks and their waiters and their bartenders. They brought some manuals with them by chance. They also brought some recipes by chance. And I'm working the front door. By the way, we do kind of rip each other off in this industry a lot, but that's okay because it happens everywhere. I'm working the front door one night, and this guy leaves the restaurant, and he stops me and he says, "What's your name?" And I said, "Hal Smith." He said, I had the marinated steak, and it tastes like the Kensington Club at Steak and Ale. It tastes just like it. And I said, I kind of smiled, and I went, "Pretty damn close." And he goes, and he said, "You know, my name's Norm Brinker, and I founded Steak and Ale. I don't mind being ripped off when it's done with class, and I think you've done this with class." And I went, he's either going to hit me or sue me. I can't figure it out. And then he handed me his name and number, and he said, "If you ever get tired of doing what you're doing, give me a call." And a few months later, I got married. I knew that I needed some education and some discipline in business, so I went to work for Steak and Ale. They paid me $900 a month, and I moved to Columbus, Ohio with my new bride. Didn't have any credit, didn't have any furniture. We had lawn furniture we used inside our apartment. We slept on an air mattress that we bought from Sears, and that was it. I worked, my tail off. I did everything. In those days, you spent most of your time in training in the kitchen, just like we do now. And by the time I got out, I became a manager, assistant manager, then a manager. And then one day they came and they said, this is in Columbus, Ohio, where I was living, and I'd already moved to Dayton and back during that first year. So my wife's still with me. And we ended up, one day, Dick Rivera, my boss, came to me and he said, "Hey, we want you to move to Detroit, Michigan." And I went, "What? Detroit, Michigan?" First of all, they had a strike, automotive strike. Nobody was working. A recession getting ready to go in the tank. They wanted me to go up there and open up 3 or 4 new restaurants, which I did. I took it, and we ended up, that was the disco era. And nobody had ever, in our company had ever heard of a disco, but I put that little mirror ball in all 3 of my bars. We were the largest volume stores in America for Steak and Ale. We made more money, and all of a sudden, Norm Brinker flies in unannounced. He said, "I want to see what the heck's going on up here," like that. He didn't drink, and I didn't think he would ever dance. His daughter was with him playing in a tennis tournament, so she came up to me, and she goes, "Can I go to the disco later?" And I go, "Yeah." So about 10:30, here comes Norman and his daughter. She goes, "Oh, Dad, this is so cool." And I'm going, "Whew, man, you know." And she said, "You want to dance?" They got out there and danced, and I thought, I'm home free. Sure enough, you know, he came back and he goes, "You know, Hal, I visited all your restaurants up here, and we're in Dallas, Texas, our home office, and I don't get treated nearly like I did here as a customer." He said, "Everybody, I felt like I was down home. I don't know how you kind of introduced this culture up here, but it's working," and it really did. In his mind, the seed was planted. A few years later, you know, I moved from Detroit to Nashville, Tennessee, Nashville, Washington, D.C. Got a phone call one day from Norm, and he said, come on to Dallas, we're going to have a big meeting." So they had a meeting, and then afterwards he said, "I want to have dinner with you." And I said, "Okay." I was an area partner then in Washington, D.C., and he said, "You know, I'd like to do one thing. I'd like to bring Lou Neeb in, who's the president. He is now going to be the chairman and CEO of Burger King," which Pillsbury owned Burger King too in those days. And I said, "God, it's great, Lou." I said, "Who's going to be the president, Norman?" He goes, "That's going to be you." I went, "What?" I said, "I'm 33 years old. Quite honestly, I never graduated from college. I didn't go to Harvard. I don't have an MBA." He goes, "That's even better." And I said, "Okay, why me?" He goes, "I've been watching you through the years." And he said, "We need some new blood in here, and I just don't want to go to the old stockpile that I know what they're all about." He said, "You bring a little vitality to the company." So I'm sitting there thinking, is this really going to happen? And I told him, I said, "We're going to lose the head guy for Steak and Ale. We're going to lose the head guy, operations guy for Bennigan's." And he said, "Okay, go ahead and have your meeting. Go think it through. Give your presentation, because I'm going to introduce you in 3 days. I'm going to tell them that Lou's leaving and you're going to take over." And I said, "Norman, I'm going to be the youngest person in the room." And he said, "Okay, I'm going to leave right after I introduce you. And I want you to take, and I want to take over. I want you to take over as president." I'm sweating bullets, folks, I guarantee you. All of a sudden, he said, if you get in the room and after the meeting, I want everybody to come by and shake your hand. Look them in the eyes, say, "Are you on the team?" If they flinch, fire them. These guys, some of them have been with us for 15 years. I'm going, "Norman, you went to college with some of these guys." He said, "I don't care. We need to get somebody's attention out there in the field, and this is going to be it." I went, "Okay." Here. You know, he introduced me, and all of a sudden, boom, they all came through. "You on the team?" Yes. Last two guys had been against head of Steak and Ale. Carl Hayes at Steak and Ale, you know, and I said, "Carl, you're on my team." And he goes, "Hal, I've been your mentor for a long time. I think you'll do a heck of a job, but I really wanted to be the president." I said, "Carl, come into my office tomorrow and I'll give you a real nice severance package." And he goes, "Really?" I said, "Yeah." Dick Rivera comes up, same thing. Dick, he said, I'd like to be president." I said, "Okay, why don't you come in tomorrow and I'll give you a severance package." Did. Next day, severance package, they're gone. I called Norman, told him what happened. He goes, "Great, get you 2 new guys in there." I go, "Norman, this is a $500 million company. You know, I just can't." He goes, "Get them in there." I brought in 2 guys. One guy's named Chris Sullivan. I just want you to remember that one. Anyway, we went. We took the company from a $400 million company to about a $738 million sales company in about 3.5 to 4 years. We were the largest return on investment and the fastest growing vehicle that Pillsbury had ever seen. They loved us. Norman came to me and said, "We need a new concept." So I went out and found a little hamburger joint with my marketing guy, brought it back. There were 10 stores, and I took it to Pillsbury to try to sell them on buying it. And they said, "Look, we're buying Haagen-Dazs ice cream right now. We can't do it." I said, "Well, we're going to lose that little company." Sure enough, about a month later, it goes, headlines said, "This little company sells to Saga Corporation out on the West Coast." Norm calls me and he goes, "Hey, bring me those financials again." So I did. 2 days later, he says, "We're going to have breakfast." All right. He said, "I got great news for you, Hal, over breakfast." And I said, "All right, Norm, what is it?" And he said, "You are the new chairman and CEO of S&A Restaurant Corp., which has been against the Steak and Ale. You're going to have Poppin' Fresh pie shops. There are 50 of those. And when they buy Haagen-Dazs, they want you to run the dip stores too, the dip shops. You're going to be the chairman of a $1 billion company." I said, I was 37 by that time and making about $175,000, which was a lot of money, still is today. Long story short, it was a great ride, but I was traveling all over the world, nearly lost my wife. She just gave up on me. She said, I never see you. It's all business. I realized then I had to balance my life with faith, my family. Business is way down the list, because if all those other things, and your health, mental health and physical health, if those 3 and 4 things are in order, your marriage is going to be a lot better. And if I don't have my marriage and my family, then nothing else really matters. My faith will be there, but I've got to have it. And that worked. I changed. A couple of years later, I got tired of the Pillsbury routine. Norm called me. He said, why don't you come over and be the president of Chili's? Did that for a few years. I got a phone call. This is really funny. I get a phone call from guy, can't remember his name, a guy out of Louisville, Kentucky, which had Chi-Chi's. Chi-Chi's in those days was having a lot of problems, and they said, we need somebody to come in, help turn it around. And we watched your career. So off I went home, and I said, Sandy, these guys are wanting me to come to Louisville, Kentucky. She said, Hal, we have lived in 6 states. We've moved 12 times, and now you want me to leave Dallas, Texas, where I love, to go to Louisville, Kentucky. How much money are they offering you? And I said, well, they asked me that, and I told them I had to make $1 million a year, and I wanted a new car. I just threw it out there. New car, the guy goes, it's yours. And I went, what? So I said, I got to go back to my wife. I got to find out. So I go back. She said, how much are they going to pay you? I said, $1 million a year, potential with bonus and everything. And she said, is there a Neiman Marcus in Louisville? I went, yeah, betcha, boy. So off we went to Louisville, Kentucky. We turned that company around about 3.5 years, sold it to Jack in the Box for $255 million. We were publicly held at Jack in the Box called Food Maker. And right as 1987 and 88 hit with the stock market crashing, all the stocks were down, couldn't beg anybody to buy stock in those days. Chairman of Jack in the Box comes to me and says, we're going to take this thing private. Instead of being public, we're going to buy everybody out. We went to Drexel Burnham, which had Michael Milliken across the table from me selling me junk bonds, who's the guy that went to prison later. But he sold us $550 million in junk bonds. We bought out all of our investors. And we ran that thing for about a year, and then the stock market came back. Jack goes, hey, we're taking it public. I go, that's the game. That's the game they play. We got on a plane. We go to Frankfurt, Germany. We go to Zurich, Switzerland. We go to Edinburgh, Scotland. We go to London, England, and we go back. We left from Paris, France, and by the time we left Paris, we'd sold all the stock. So we went public. I made some good money, and I said, I'm out of here. I'm going to go back to Oklahoma, move back to Norman. Chris Sullivan, the name I said remember, when I left Steak and Ale, he left Steak and Ale. He founded Outback Steakhouse. He called me and he said, why don't you build Outback in 5 states? And I said, I will. And so 19 stores later, 3.5 years later, he came and knocked on the door and said, I'll give you $42 million for your stores. And I said, done deal. So I had to pay the investors, and I had to pay, the bank and everybody, but I ended up with enough seed money to really, really do what we do today, and that's start with the Charleston's concept right out of Oklahoma City. And I just can't tell you, when I come to Tulsa, the pride that I have of the response that this market has given us through the years, and I sure appreciate it. But that's kind of how the whole thing happened, and to think, I call it the American dream, and it is my American dream. But it can happen, it did happen, and I happened to know the right guy at the right time and work my butt off, and that's the way it works in this business. If you don't work hard, as many people as we touch, it's a tough one. I'd like to open it up for any questions you might have. If you don't, that's fine too, but I know there's a lot of questions out there. Yes? Pardon? The big trend is on your cell phone when you call and order your food, and Uber picks it up and takes it to you. That's either it's to go, you drive up and pick it up, or you have it delivered. That's a big, big increase. And I know, for instance, Ted's Escondido, we doubled our to-go business. We call it to-go being if Uber picks it up and takes it home, or you pick it up. So it's a big, big part and a big trend. Something else I've seen, and Hank and his guys have seen it too, is the the brunch crowd. You know, the neighborhood gym kind of concept is a hot little deal. And the Snooze out of Arizona and that group, that's kind of a trend. Healthy, although it's always been there, the millennials really are buying into it. And I don't categorize millennials necessarily, but they are a little different breed. There's no doubt about it. And I love them because they're smart. And if you can find the good ones, they turn out to be great employees. But those three things are the things that I see. My daughter's going to open up a little place called Organic Squeeze, and everything is organic, and all the juices are organic, and they're going to have 5 entrees that they sell each day, and they're all organic, certified organic. So the response, she hadn't opened yet, but I think the response is going to be tremendous. Question? Yes, sir. What demise? You know, you can go back through and look at Chi-Chi's. You can look at a lot of them. If the culture leaves and a bunch of investment bankers get a hold of a concept, it's doomed. It's done. And that's what happened to Steak and Ale. That's what happened to, because they started cutting the quality of steak, the service. They squeeze so they can pay off their debt. Same thing happened with Chi-Chi's, and it's a shame that it has to happen like that. That's why I don't get married, in my mind, to any concept. I mean, I love them, and I love them while we're running them, but if I ever leave, or Hank ever leaves, we know pretty much what's going to happen unless somebody steps in with the right culture in their mind. Culture's a big deal. We've got a great culture at our company. Good question, though. Yes, sir. Yeah, that's pretty much the norm. It really is. I mean, managers work their shift. They don't go in the office and count numbers, you know. Especially Hank's group. Hank is in charge of pretty much what I call the upper echelon of our company. And that's all the way from Mahogany to Charleston to Upper Crust. I mean, you know, I could go on. But he's got that group. And by and large, I'd say 99% of every manager that we have understands that's part of the deal. You've got to work the crowd. I've got a guy down in Norman, Charleston's down there, Brad, and every time I'm in there, if the table needs to be bussed, he's over there helping if it needs it. You know, he's in the kitchen expediting. Whatever it is, that's part of their job, part of their role. One more question if there is any. Hey, thanks a lot. I sure appreciate it. Got one? Yeah, yes, sir. A new concept? Asian. We've talked about it. Right now, no. I've got what I like to do is maybe find a 2 or 3 unit chain that they don't know how to grow and go in and buy them. And they've already done the homework. They know what it is. And that's kind of the way we're looking at growth is buying an existing concept and then growing it. Ted's Escondido, great. He had one. And I bought him, and now we've got 10, and they're all doing really well. So that's one way to do it. We also have some pretty good chefs that can do the Asian cuisine type stuff, too. I love it, by the way. Anybody else? Hey, thank you. Am I supposed to do anything else?
Well, that was great fun. I could sit and listen to your stories all afternoon. That was amazing. I do have one quick question, though. On culture, and you might have to come back up to the mic, I'm sorry, but on culture, what does that mean to you? How do you instill that? Especially a lot of people that pay hourly wages or something like that find it hard to instill that in.
Yeah, it's a quick answer.
Okay, thanks.
Culture does not just happen. And until you hire the right people and train them and get a system that they won't accept deadbeats. They won't accept people that don't pull their load. And that's the culture we try to strive for is if you're not pulling your load and you're kind of a deadwood, boy, everybody lets you know that guy doesn't do it. He's not a team player. And so the system that we have and the culture we have, you rise to the top or you go to the bottom real quick. And that's the way we like it. So culture is many things, but to me, it's the work ethic. And when you walk in, you're proud to be there because you went through the Marine course of, you were trained. And that's real important.
All right, and I do need you to stick by because we do have some gift cards to give away. Hal brought some, and then I think we also pitched in and got a few. But really quickly, one thing I do want to ask you to do, Hal, is sign this book. It's called Samson the Piranha Who Went to Dinner, and we we give these to our Celia Clinton School, which is our partner in education school, and we've funded their entire library through speaker gifts, so we appreciate that. All right, so now is the time that you can get your tickets out, and Hal, if you will draw, is it 10? Is that correct? 10? 10 numbers. Oh my, can I read this? Yeah. Okay, let's see. 562178. Yes. Tina, where are the cards? Who has the cards? All right, so we'll keep going. 562098.
Is there a winner?
Wait a minute. Am I okay?
Somebody back here.
Okay, good. 562055. This just in. Everyone is a winner today. Per Hank, he has brought enough gift cards for everyone to receive a restaurant gift card. Thank you, Hal.
I told you Hank was good.
Wow. Thank you, Hank and Hal. That is amazing. We appreciate it. All right. Okay, I guess it's that time of day. And as Rotarians, you are agents of change, and you are the green Tabasco. So now go change the world. The meeting is adjourned.